the winter weather in Chicago, the Mets return home for the unofficial start of summer. And boy, did it feel like summer today. The beginning of the Memorial Day weekend, and folks were out and about and enjoying good times with great weather tonight at Citi Field. At Citi Field in New York, the New York Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. Tonight's game is presented by New York's 529 College Savings Program. Mets baseball is presented in HD by IOTV. Get the best in HD free with IOTV. And a pleasant good evening, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. I'm Gary Cohen. Keith Hernandez and Ron Darling join me in just a moment as the four-time defending National League East champion Philadelphia Phillies come to town to play the Mets at Citi Field for the first time this year. News on the injury front for the Mets. R.A. Dickey, who left yesterday's game, diagnosed with a partial tear of the plantar fascia in his right foot. He expects to make his next start, which will be on Tuesday against the Pirates. He'll test it out probably on Sunday to be sure. On a much more positive note, Angel Pagan returns to the lineup tonight for the Mets. Mets sent down Fernando Martinez to make room. They also made a move with their pitchers, sending Pat Mish out. He is designated for assignment, and bringing up a veteran right-hander, Dale Thayer. As for Pagan, his return to the lineup certainly bolsters the Mets on both sides.
Well, anything will help right now, but remember, offensively, he's only 1/3 of the people that are out on the disabled list for the Mets. So it's a welcome return. Angel, we know, is more better suited in the two-hole. He will not hit in the two-hole. He's hitting down the RBI spot in the order to kind of strengthen the depth in the order. But sooner the other guys get back, I think the better, and get Angel in that two-hole. That'll be much suited. Now, from a defensive standpoint, that's as good a defensive outfield you're going to have in the National League.
So the Mets have Justin Turner in the two-hole. Pagan will hit sixth as Terry Collins tries to lengthen out his lineup. The Phillies are in town. You know, the Phillies have had just as many injury problems as the Mets have had this year. They're not really scoring. In fact, I think their run scored is about 6 more than the Mets so far this year. And yet here they are, 12 games over 500.
But how do you do that if you're not scoring runs? You do it with pitching, of course. Their team ERA is second in the National League. Their stars, of course, well documented, first in the National League. In the last 27 starts for the Philadelphia, they've only given up 3 runs 3 times. Walks, the lowest in baseball. Strikeouts, the most. So they have just been outstanding. And then late in the game, they're 23-0 after they lead after 7th. And Roy Oswalt today, only 3 wins so far in this season, but the low ERA, and he's been great with Philadelphia since he came over. 153 career wins. And then tonight, going up against Chris Capuano. Chris with 3 runs, so 3 wins so far in this season. He was hurt last game by the home run ball. He's given up 9 so far, 4 in the last game. They'll try to keep the ball in the park here at Citi tonight.
They'll have to face Chase Utley, who will play against the Mets for the first time this year, but not Shane Victorino, who's out on the disabled list. Mets and Phillies at Citi Field. Phillies are here, Sailors are here, so are you. Come on back. Savings Program. By IOTV, get the best in HD free with IOTV. By Bud Light, it's a sure sign of a good time. By Parts Authority, the only name in auto parts you will ever need to know. Visit them at partsauthority.com and become a VIP member today. By Nissan, hurry in for extra holiday bonus cash at Nissan's National Tent event now through May 31st. And by Lowe's, visit your local Lowe's to cast your MLB All-Star ballot and enter to win a trip to the All-Star game. Compliments of Scott's. Tickets for the inaugural soccer match at Citi Field featuring the national teams from Ecuador and Greece on Tuesday, June 7th at 8 p.m. are on sale now. Call 718-507-TIXX or visit 507TIXX.com now for your tickets. Here's your Cadillac around the majors for today. This afternoon, Kevin Correa 7 1/3 shutout innings as the Pirates beat the Cubs 4-2, his 6th win. Anibal Sanchez last night brilliant through a complete game 5 hitter against the Giants, a 1-0 win for the Marlins, who are now 10 games over 500. And the Diamondbacks have now won 9 of 10. Micah Owings beating the Colorado Rockies yesterday 6-3, and the D-backs now just a game and a half behind the Giants, who will go the rest of the season without their star catcher Buster Posey. Mets are back home in New York for a 10-game homestand. First pitch with Mets and Phillies coming right up. DirecTV, if you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. Nice wheels.
Nice wheels. I love that shot, though, don't you?
How do you mean that?
Don't go there. I haven't even started.
Here's your fourth starting lineup for the Phillies tonight. Chase Utley makes his 4th start since coming back from the disabled list at his first home run yesterday in the Phillies win over the Reds. But he goes in the 2-hole and Placido Polanco hits 3rd. Almost feels like that's backwards. Raul Ibanez, who was in that 0 for 35 skid the last time the Mets faced the Phillies, has been red hot lately as the Phillies have a lot of games where they don't score very much, but somehow they find ways to win.
Well, Chris Capuano with those 3 wins, we reminded you in the beginning that he had that tough go of it at Yankee Stadium, giving up the 4 home runs in that smallish ballpark. 49 wins in his career, going for number 50 this evening.
Here we'll take a look at the Lexus Metzi defense. Pagan back. It's his first start since April 21st. And I must note that this outfield was the projected outfield for the New York Metropolitans. It's only the second time they've played this season together.
Yes, Jason Bay was out at the beginning of the season. Pagan got hurt, suffered an oblique strain and a stress fracture in his rib as well, not widely reported, and he missed 30 games. But here he is back tonight to take on the Phillies. Jimmy Rollins will lead things off for Philadelphia. He got his first day off of the season yesterday. Remember, night before last, the Phillies played 19 innings against the Reds. So Rollins got the day off yesterday, hitting a .264 for the year. And Capuano gets it started with a call strike to Rollins.
And Rollins is always someone that gets up for the Mets and is a thorn in their side, always in the middle of things.
You know, you talk to people who watch the Phillies every day, and they'll tell you that Rollins has played indifferently at times this year. But you said he gets up for the Mets. It's very much like with Hanley Ramirez. When those two guys see Reyes on the other side, it seems to inspire them. Good off-speed pitch by Capuano, 1-2.
It's almost like they're saying, I'm sick of hearing a Reyes. This is my game. Check this out.
Well, it shouldn't be a shortstop competition. You know, that's what it seems like. You know,
mano a mano.
It's going to be every day. You know.
1-2. Yeah, Rollins pops one foul. Phillies at 31-19, 12 games over 500. They have had 28 games this year that they've scored 3 runs or less. 28 of their 50 games, and they've won 11 of those 28, which will tell you how good their pitching has been. And a good changeup to strike out Rollins, and Capuano fans the first man to face him.
A good changeup down. When he has that changeup going, it's almost like a power changeup. It's a swing and miss kind of pitch for Chris.
Mercedes-Benz Ultra brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Well, now Utley came back from a knee injury on Monday. Probably not quite full strength yet, but in the lineup. He's started every game but one since coming back, and Charlie Manuel says he's going to give him a day here and there to try and get him back up to speed.
His last at bat in that game last night, hit a home run, a solo shot, but he's off to a sluggish start, 2 for 14.
The guy who replaced him primarily at second base is going to the Hall of Fame. Wilson Valdez.
That's right.
After pitching that 19th inning on Wednesday night, his hat has been sent to Cooperstown.
Well, he got the fastball up to 89 miles an hour. He said he was very disappointed he did not break the 90 barrier.
He wanted to be Desi Relaford.
That's right.
Mixed in a couple breaking balls and shook off the catcher twice.
It's even got the pitcher's goatee going. Well, good for Wilson. Bounce foul, and it's 2-2 to Utley.
You know, Gary, I was thinking of that stat that you just gave. Well, this is Wilson Valdez in that 19-inning game, shaking him off.
How about that? Shaking him off.
And that's Joey Votto.
Yeah.
And Votto just missed it.
He went right through the middle of the order. Rolling, he hit.
They got Jay Bruce, the hottest guy they got going.
That's right.
And then the pitcher, Carlos Fisher.
Did you see that Martinez, the infield, was playing center field?
And you see, as soon as Fisher popped it up, Valdez was headed toward the dugout. Capuano uses the slider to get Utley. Back-to-back strikeouts for Capuano to start the night.
Well, good slider here. He had a good one against the Yankees, but he made a mistake with Granderson. The first home run he's given up to a left-hander all season long.
Well, remember, he had struck out Granderson with the slider the first 2 at-bats.
And, you know, sometimes you go to the well too many times.
Well, here's Placido Polanco, who's arguably been the Phillies' best player this year. He's just had a phenomenal start to his season. Hitting a .323, 5th in the National League. Hitting .382 against left-handers. And against the Mets this year has seemed to have every big hit. Mets and Phillies have played 6 games this year. Polanco has 11 RBIs in the 6 games.
And a lot of those RBIs were with 2 strikes, Ronnie, and going the other way. He's a good line drive hitter. Look at a great shot right there.
We're going to give that blimp a workout tonight.
That's a great shot. The geometry of the field, the angles.
Polanco, the hardest man in the league to strike out this year. And Capuano just missed inside. Almost had him.
You know, Gary, I heard you mention Ryan Howard. He's Paul Bunyan-like. You mentioned Paul Bunyan in Chicago yesterday. Well, if you're trying to teach a youngster who isn't a big kid how to hit the baseball, Polanco's the guy to watch. Up the middle.
In there for a call, strike 3, and Capuano strikes out the side in the opening inning, putting the capper on by striking out the toughest guy in the league to fan. Jose Reyes leads off the bottom of the first against Roy Oswalt, who makes his 8th start of the year. Major Geico Mets starting lineup. Turner moves into the 2-hole. Pagan in his first game in more than a month hits 6th. Daniel Murphy's got his back going, a 6-game hitting streak. He slots into the 5-hole behind Jason Bay, who the Mets would love to get going on this homestand.
Roy Oswalt's 3-2 on the season, good ERA at 2.77. Has had 2 stints away from the club. One to see how his family was doing in Mississippi, and also the DL with lower back strain.
And that back is a problem that he's dealt with before, and it's probably not 100%. When you watch him bend over to try and pick up a ground ball, it is clear that it's still bothering him.
It's almost like he's changed his motion to be more upright now, so he doesn't put any strain.
But you wonder whether the Mets will bunt on him. And Reyes takes a strike. It's 3-1. Jose at 319. He had 3 straight multiple hit games in Chicago, giving him 23 multiple hit games this year. And he hits this one out to left field, and Ibanez tracking it back toward the line. 1 away.
Well, one of the more compact motions you'll see in the National League. A little step, high leg kick. And probably not as much now as early in his career, as good at using his lower body as anyone in the game.
He's only 6 feet tall, but generates a lot of power.
And you'll see the Coors Light Philly defense, and Mr. Howard has improved defensively over there over the years. He's worked hard at it, and the fruits of his labor are right there. No errors this season. 50 games, I should say. So this Philly team is pretty good defensive ball club all the way around, boy, I tell you.
Justin Turner's numbers have tailed off over the last 4 or 5 days. Just 1 for his last 18 after a remarkable run. Carlos Beltran to follow. Mets have been able to generate base runners, but getting them in, that's a big problem. Turner shoots one toward the middle. Great diving stop by Rollins, but he can't throw out Turner, who beats it out for an infield hit. Great effort by Jimmy Rollins.
Well, he gets just completely on the dive there, and it is tough to get up and throw out Turner from the outfield grass. But boy, what an effort.
Getting pretty close.
There you go, right there. Boy, that is a great backside angle there. Like a cat getting up. Ozzie Smith was the best I saw coming off the grass.
Beltran, it's a double play bouncer right to Rollins. 6-6-3, and that gets Oswalt through the opening inning. A 9-pitch inning for Oswalt. We head for the second. Ryan Howard to lead off against Capuano. No score. By Brooklyn Burger, the premium steakhouse burger and the official burger of the New York Mets. Be sure to visit Keith's Grill at Citi Field, located on the field level behind section 132, to enjoy Keith Hernandez's favorite Brooklyn burger.
They look good, don't they?
They taste good too.
You know, in New York City, you can start out at a grill, and next thing you know, it's a full thriving restaurant.
In name only.
Ryan Howard leads off the second inning for the Phillies. See what Ryan's done this year, but his numbers against lefties are subpar.
Unbelievable.
He's hitting 197 against left-handers without a home run.
And that's in 66 at-bats. He hasn't not hit a home run. Ryan's another one of those hitters that locks that front foot, and who am I to say to change it? He's, he's had a tremendous career. Hall of Fame start for this young man, but he just locks that front foot when he's his striding foot. He doesn't turn with it. You see, he keeps it pointing at third base, and it just locks your hips up. And he's just so doggone strong that he can get away with it. And in that ballpark in Philadelphia, that left center field fence for him, it's no match.
Capuano struck out the side in the first inning. He's ahead on Howard 0-2. Capuano became the first Met pitcher to strike out the side in the first inning this year. The last to do it was Johan Santana last August.
Another guy deep in the box, but look how spread out he is.
Struck him out. 4 straight strikeouts to start the game for Capuano.
Well, Cap has it working. He's able to throw that changeup inside the left-hander. It's a very dangerous pitch, but took enough off after enough fastballs and clearing and covering that whole batter's box, Keith.
Yeah, it's a little better with a turn there. See, that's what he needs to do all the time. He turns that foot in. That was just a good sinker right there. Sink and change. Good pitch.
Now Ben Francisco, and it's been a struggle for Francisco lately. Just 5 for his last 44. He's played most of the right field for the Phillies this year, but now they have Dominic Brown up from the minors, and it looks like Brown will get the bulk of the playing time from here.
You know, we've all spent most of our time talking about how Jason Worth has gone to Washington. He's not the kind of guy who can carry that whole team on his back, but they certainly do miss him in this lineup.
Oh, he was the perfect complementary player on this team. Hit in the air to left field, chasing Bay back to the warning track. He has room to make the grab. First fair ball hit by a Philly, and Francisco sends it back to the warning track for the second out.
A little bit towards the end of the bat, and Bay gets a good beat on it here. Know that Jason plays a very good left field.
Well, welcome to New York, Dale Thayer, the newest Met, just called up from Buffalo today. He had a handful of games for Tampa Bay each of the last 2 years, and he was putting up some terrific numbers in Buffalo. And he's available tonight, taking Pat Mish's spot. Mish was designated for assignment.
20 games, 6 base on balls, 25 strikeouts.
And a ground ball pitcher, so exactly what the doctor ordered. As an extra arm in that bullpen. Ibanez takes a strike, and it's 1-1. Raul Ibanez, since his 0 for 35, has had 83 at bats, and he's hitting, well, there you go, 353.
Wow. And he's hit both lefties and righties in this hot streak.
Diving stop by Tejada from his knees. He got him. Outstanding play by Ruben Tejada. Full extension. And in the webbing to get Ibanez and get Capuano perfectly through the second inning.
Jason Bay leading off the home second inning against Roy Oswalt. Bay has good career numbers against Oswalt, 11 for 31, a 355 average. Jason 1 for 3 in yesterday's game in Chicago.
He's still struggling at the dish.
Well, the stunning number for Bay is that 8 in the RBI column after 103 at bats. He just has not been able to hit with runners in scoring position.
And he's pressing. There's no question about that. I can sense, I can see his expressions. And this has not just been this year, Gary. It's been a culmination of, 2 years, building up on 2 years. And it wears on you.
Maybe he needs the bat leadoff.
There you go. Well, how do you change that, Keith, though? I mean, every hitter goes through those streaks. I mean, you kind of have to, work your way through it, and then, I don't know, keep things simple or simpler. I don't know.
It's just hard to figure out, Ron, because this is a man that's had some phenomenal years.
Down to third, and Polanco right in front of it. Throws out Bay, one away.
I know in pitching, when you're struggling, you try to keep it simple. Strike one, first out of the inning. Try to do those kind of things. I don't know what the equivalent in hitting would be.
Well, what I see right now is everything is being pulled
Well, he's a pull hitter. He's got a lot of top hand in that swing, and as I said, because of the top hand, it makes him very vulnerable to pitches that breaking balls that break down below the belt and hard sinkers.
Angel Pagan getting ready for his first at bat in more than a month. Murphy pops one up on the left side, and Rollins squeezes it 2 away.
So you know, I'd like to take a look at his hands, how he grips the bat, and see if he's got, you know, in golf, Ronnie,
Yeah.
you want to play a fade, you hold your top hand a little differently.
Well, here's Pagan getting a nice hand from the crowd. Last time Angel played was on April the 21st. He missed 30 games with that strained oblique. Of course, he was not hitting at all when he got hurt. They say you never get hurt when you're in a slump. Well, Pagan did. And so he's had that 159 on his ledger for more than a month and ready to get that thing out of there.
Came back with the beard. Try something different.
Ronnie Polino on deck.
And it's stroked the other way, and Pagan has himself a base hit.
So Angel Pagan, first time up, coming off the disabled list, has himself an opposite field single.
Well, remember when he left the ball club and was struggling, he was pulling off that front shoulder. Now watch him drive into the ball, that right shoulder. That's a pitch away, going right with it, not trying to pull it. So maybe that'll get him going here.
So the Mets have their second hit, and now Polino. Ronnie just 3 for his last 21, but he hits a hot shot up the middle for a base hit. Well, Polino picking up where he left off the last time he faced the Phillies. Remember that 14-inning Sunday night game? He had 5 hits in his first game as a Met. So 2 out of 2 on it. Now Ruben Tejada has already flashed his glove in this game, making his 8th start since being called up. He's had 24 at bats so far and hanging in there at 292.
Well, one thing about 24 at bats when you're that low, it's just that an 0-for can drop it considerably, and a 3-hit day can raise it just as equally in the other direction.
Last time the Mets faced Roy Oswalt, who was last September here at Citi Field, and he threw a 4-hit complete game shutout against them. He is one of the best pitchers of his generation. Came up in 01. He's won 153 games, and since he arrived, only 2 pitchers in the majors have won more. The shortstop, and Rollins will go to first with it. Get Tejada to end the inning. Only Halladay and Sabathia have won more games in the majors since Oswalt's arrival. No score after 2 at Citi Field. one place. Here's your Mets upcoming schedule. Remember, all Mets games on SNY are available in HD, presented by IOTV, and you can listen to every Mets game on Sports Radio 66 WFAN. We're on Pix 11 Sunday, back on SNY Monday night when the Pirates come in. 4 with the Pirates, 3 with the Braves on this long homestand. Carlos Ruiz leads off in the third. Ruiz spent some time on the disabled list this year with some lower back issues. He's been back about 2 weeks. Must be okay because he caught 18 innings the other night.
Well, he caught 18 innings and played third base for 1 inning.
And went diving over the tarp trying to get a foul pop-up while he was playing third. Capuano behind him 2-0. And throws the fastball low, 3-0.
Well, I will tell you, he is beloved by his teammates. Chooch, as they call him. Start pitchers love working with him. There's R.A.
R.A. Dickey diagnosed today with a partial tear of the plantar fascia on the bottom of his right foot. And basically what the doctors told R.A. is that if he can manage the pain, he's okay to play. Now the question is, will he be able to go out there and manage the pain well enough to take his start, which would be on Tuesday night.
I played with Mark McGuire as Ruiz walks, and he had that same injury, and it took him, and I'm not saying it's for RA, it's different for a home run hitter who plays every day in the field, but it put him on the shelf really for 3 seasons.
Well, RA was pretty confident that he'd be able to work through it. Now, you know, he doesn't have any guarantee until he goes out there and throws his bullpen. Now, he'd normally throw his bullpen session tomorrow. He's going to wait an extra day probably and do it Sunday instead.
I wonder if he would think of putting a little less strain and throwing a little slower knuckleball. Maybe he'd be the only kind of guy that could make that change and try to put less strain on his foot.
Well, would it make that much difference for a knuckleball pitcher in terms of pushing off, or is it more about fielding his position?
Yeah.
It's John Mayberry, and he takes inside ball 1.
No, I think the key is going to be not only throwing on the sideline, but can he go out and sprint 90 feet? Can he back up a base? You know, if he gets a hit, he's one of the best hitting pitchers for the Mets. Can he run the bases?
Mayberry, of course, the son. We're going to show you the injury real quick here. And you can see, Ronnie, he stopped. Then when he picked it back up, that's when the injury occurred.
He was just surprised, and I'm not exactly sure what it is that he thought he saw that caused him to hesitate.
Well, you know, what I saw is that Murph was out of position. Simple as that. He was on the second base side of Zambrano, and that just changed the whole, I think, RA's perspective of the vista he saw when he turned.
I think he glanced over there, saw Zambrano, and honestly thought it was Murphy
and shut it down.
Yeah. 1-2 to Mayberry.
Boy, this young Mayberry, I'll tell you, he might be hitting 235. Every time I watch him play, he hits a bullet.
Well, he's getting a chance to play with Victorino on the disabled list, and he hasn't been putting up the numbers with this opportunity, hitting under 200. But I like his swing. They said they've been jamming him. He's got long arms, but this kid can run. He's big and strong. A right-hand hitter, unlike his daddy.
And they really have loved his center field play. A lot different than Victorino with his short, choppy steps, long loping strides for John Mayberry.
Shades of Gary Maddox in his heyday for the Phillies. Swing and a miss. He got him with a changeup. That's 5 strikeouts in the first 8 batters for Chris Capuano.
Capuano making like Santana-like here against the Phillies. A good power changeup, and way out in front is Mayberry.
Well, 1 out and 1 on, and now Roy Oswalt 1 for 11 at the plate this year.
You see that career batting average, though. He is not an easy out. He knows what he's doing up at the plate.
That's a look for the bunt here. Ruiz not a fast man at first, and Oswalt bunts it foul. He has 3 sacrifices to his credit this year.
Well, we've known that Murphy has been playing really aggressively, Keith. But this is one point where if you're the pitcher, Capuano, you're left-handed, Ruiz is going to get such a late jump from first base because of the threat of your move that this is really a time you can pick up a force at second base.
Nice bunt by Oswald. Murphy will have to go to first with this. So 3-4 on the sacrifice, moving Ruiz to second.
Well, that's a pitcher perfect bunt right there. Deadened it nicely. There's no defense for that.
You can't roll it out there better, Keith.
Nope, and you got a first baseman, even if he gets a good break in there and comes in hard, that bunt like that, that's no chance to get the lead run.
And you see Oswald not running at all. That tells me his back is really bothering.
Yeah, he's pitching hurt. Absolutely.
Because he's the kind of guy who normally would sprint to first base.
But he's a gamer. He'll keep going out there.
So here's Rollins, who struck out to open the game. 2 out and a runner in scoring position. And a first pitch change up by Capuano for ball 1. First time Capuano has faced the Phillies this year. The Mets played 2 series at Citizens Bank Park. One the first week of the season and the other that started the last day of April. Imagine that.
Yep.
Cracked into left center field. That's a base hit. Pagan cuts it off in the gap. But Ruiz will score easily with the first run of the game. Jimmy Rollins drives in his 16th run of the year. 1-0 Philadelphia.
Rollins once again hurting the Mets with his bat. And that's a fastball. He wanted to get inside. Away, it looked like it came in.
You know, those leadoff walks will kill you with Ruiz walking sacrificed over. Talk about Jimmy Rollins, but you know the Mets in 2 outs and runners in scoring position hitting under 200, 242 plus now for the Philadelphia Phillies.
So the first Philadelphia hit produces the first run, and now Chase Utley, who struck out his first time up. Rollins has 9 steals in 10 tries. The Phillies, as always, have the high stolen base percentage, although not a particularly high total. It started when Davey Lopes was their base running coach.
You know, it's interesting, Gary. You were saying before the game that the Phillies now have only outscored the Mets by 8 runs, but they're the opposite. They don't get anybody on, but when they do, they drive them in. And the Mets have gotten plenty of base runners, but they have not been able to get them in.
I mean, the Mets are 4th in the league in on-base percentage. The Phillies are 9th. And the slugging percentages as well. The Mets have a higher slugging percentage than the Phillies, which you would never expect, particularly when you consider which ballparks the 2 teams play in. And Utley is nipped by the pitch. Well, that happens a lot with Utley. Third batter Capuano's hit this year. Now they're 2 on for Polanco. So the Phillies were in the middle of the pack in most offensive categories. But their pitching, of course, has been splendid.
Their starting pitching, in particular, the highly touted starting staff.
So now Polanco, who is hitting .348 with runners in scoring position, and here he is in another RBI situation against the Mets.
Well, let's see how they work him. It's a guy that goes the other way.
A little bloop into shallow right. Tejada going out. Squeezes this with 2 hands to end the inning. Phillies get the first run, 1-0 middle of the 3rd. outer space.
That's right.
Hitting the road, take the Mets with you this season. Subscribe to MLB.tv today to see every Mets game live or on demand on your computer and your favorite devices. Visit Mets.com to order and get more details. MLB.tv, baseball everywhere. Chris Capuano tops one up the first base side. And Ron Howard with the backhand flip. One away.
Gingerly running over to first base to cover was Oswald. Ron?
I think right now, if you're Ryan Howard, although you can't do it here, you'd like to take every ball you could and get it yourself. But awkward little backhand, but nice play by Oswald, who's a fantastic athlete.
Well, the Mets certainly know what's going on with Oswald. They watched him not run to first base and tiptoe over to first base there. You've got to start bunting on him, don't you?
Well, I think that, you know, with the speed that you have down the order in Reyes and Pagan, Tejada even is a good candidate to do that.
Reyes flied out his first time up, and he takes off the plate 1-0. The only problem with that for Reyes is he's swung the bat so well this year, you almost are reluctant to have a bunt. Not that he can't do it successfully on a regular basis.
Most leadoff hitters or guys with great speed that bunt, I've found in my career, like to bunt when they're in slumps. If they are hot, they're going to swing the bat, and once they go a little, you know, 1 for 15, 1 for 16, that's when you'll see them break out the bunt.
And that hasn't happened much for Reyes this year. You saw the graphic there. Reyes became the Mets' all-time runs scored leader on Wednesday night. It kind of passed without anybody noticing.
Past David Wright.
David Wright and Darryl Strawberry right there at the top. Down to first for Howard. Easy play for the second out.
You know, one of the things that has completely changed for Oswald, and it might be because of his physical condition, he is running that two-seamer fastball in on the hitters. He was always a guy that was more four-seamer, up in the strike zone, big curveball, but he's more two-seamers and will use that changeup a lot.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Justin Turner, who had an infield hit his first time up. Well, the Mets are attacking early, and Oswald's thrown only 28 pitches so far over the first 2 2/3.
You know, the thing about this Philadelphia Phillies pitching staff, I don't care what kind of game plan you want to go in with, they throw too many strikes. You got to swing the bat.
There's Roy Halladay, who certainly is the king of throwing strikes. Well, the Phillies have an unusual daily double with their staff this year. They lead the league in fewest walks, and they lead the league in most strikeouts. That's an unusual pairing. You see the win total for Oswald since he came up. And tied to Turner 2-1. I mean, think about that. Normally when you have strikeout staffs, you have guys who, you know, may not throw as consistently in the strike zone. Hamels and Lee and Halladay and Oswald. And Vance Worley has done a nice job as the 5th starter, filling in for Blanton. And Turner gets one down the line. We'll get an extra base hit out of this. There's Ibanez. Corrals it in the corner. And Turner has his 8th double of the year.
Well, down and in. Tries to get that little sinker. And they've been starting to pitch Turner inside. But this one's down. A good sink. Good hitting right there. Not a bad pitch.
You know what's interesting, Keith, is that he did go in, but he went in, I believe, took a little off, or even had a changeup inside. And that's different than popping him inside.
So the Mets have their 4th hit, their first extra base hit. Turner's 2 for 2. And now Beltran, who swung at the first pitch and bounced into a double play his first trip, takes a strike this time. Well, Justin Turner already has his 6th multiple hit game. Ball and a strike to Beltran.
Well, he wants that changeup down and away. And the ball came just down and in. Nice ball for Turner to hit.
That's your IOTV pitch differential. Beltran fouls off the fastball. 93 for
Yes, he humped up on that one.
Every great pitcher, and he's one of the great pitchers of his generation. You get people in scoring position, and they have a little extra.
Exactly. And effortlessly, too. He's got a very easy motion. Looks like he'd be 93 and sneaky.
1-2, and the curveball low and in.
It's the first curve he's thrown tonight, isn't it?
A little telegraphed that a little bit, didn't he?
Took something off, slowed down the motion.
Jason Bay would be next. Oswalt facing Beltran, with whom he was teammates in Houston for a few special months in 2004. Oswalt spent his entire career with the Astros until last summer, when he was traded to the Phils. Another curve, and that was dribbled foul, so he backed it up.
Well, it's very interesting. It's a 2-2 count, 2 outs, runner in scoring position. Jason Bay behind Beltran. So, you know, Carlos is going to see a lot of these kinds of at-bats, and he's going to have to be able to put the breaking ball, hit the breaking ball for a hit to get the RBI.
And it's going to be a while till the Mets get their other 2 guns back. At least 10 days to 2 weeks for David Wright, and maybe longer than that for Ike Davis, who's not making as fast progress as the Mets would like. 2-2. Hit in the air to right center, and Mayberry with those long strides moves over, and that retires the side. Mayberry didn't know how many out there were. No matter. A double and 1 left after 3. 1-0 Phillies. Earlier today, 10 finalists auditioned at the SNY studios in Midtown Manhattan for the 2011 SNY Kidcaster contest presented by New York's 529 College Savings Program. Congratulations to Jacob Resnick of Manhattan. He is the 2011 SNY Kidcaster. Jacob will be joining us in the booth at a game later this season. New York's 529 College Savings Program would like to congratulate and thank all the contest participants and finalists for a job well done. And Jacob will have some big shoes to fill as Ryan Howard pops the first one foul. Long way to go for Turner, but he gets there. 1 pitch and 1 out in the 4th. Last year, Cara Ann Galante certainly made a great impression with her call of David Wright's home run. Kyle Singh, our 2009 winner, had his very unique terminology, which still resonates.
I'll remember that as long as I live.
So, Jacob, we look forward to having you in the booth, and I'm sure you'll do a fantastic job. Francisco drops down the bunt. Capuano with a sliding grab, but he can't throw him out. So Francisco, who's been struggling, found himself a way to get a hit with a beautifully placed bunt.
Well, Francisco, who comes out of his shoes on every swing, puts down a beautiful drag bunt, and nothing Capuano can do. Who's quite an athlete, actually. Capuano feels his position.
He does.
Well, that is a fine play right there, but just too good a bunt.
You know the lefty that made that play better than anybody ever saw? Mike Hampton.
Well, talk about another athlete.
Oh, he was just fantastic. What a fielder, what a hitter. in addition to his pitching.
This guy to my left right here wasn't a bad fielder too.
But he wasn't a lefty. No, he was a Gold Glove winner, Mr. Darling.
The thing about Hampton, it's a shame that the injuries overshadowed his career, because he was fun to watch, fiery.
But you know what? For one great season here in New York,
yeah,
he did everything that he was supposed to do.
I thought that when Mike was here that year, Gary, that he set the tone for that starting rotation. He really did. And you had a Leiter in that rotation, completely different personalities. Hampton was lights out.
And he struggled early in the season, Hampton did, particularly with the walks. 3-0 now to Ibanez, but he really pitched well when it counted.
You know, when I watched him pitch, it seemed like it took him and Piazza a while to kind of figure out how to get it done, and then after that they were really good at it. You know, they really meshed.
Carlos Ruiz on deck. Capuano behind on Ibanez, 3-0, and he takes a strike. In his last start, Capuano gave up a home run to Curtis Granderson, the first home run he's allowed to a lefty this year. He's only given up 13 home runs to left-hand batters in his career in over 800 innings. And of course, completely shuts down the running game. So there are a lot of little aspects in Capuano's game that really help him.
Fields' his position that Keith mentioned, also very capable at the plate.
And a physical fitness nut. He is really in shape. Physically fit.
There goes Francisco. Ibanez swings and misses. Paulino's throw is not in time. And Francisco has his third stolen base of the year.
I don't believe this was a hit and run right here. I did not see Francisco turn, look back.
I think it was, Keith. I thought I saw Francisco look back to see if Ibanez was swinging. Did not get a good jump, but still able to beat that throw.
So only the second stolen base of the year against Capuano. And a runner in scoring position. 3-2 count to Ibanez. Slowly hit down to Murphy right at the bag. 2 out.
Good pitch, up and in fastball ahead in the count.
Francisco now at third with 2 away.
Hitter has 2 strikes on him. He meant it, have it away, and got it in.
You know, that happens to be a very good pitch to hit, and it'll tell you that when you're pitching, you're not perfect, and for all those pitches that are on the corner that hitters break your bat and get a hit, you forget about all those down the middle that you get an out with.
Here's Ruiz, who walked and scored the only run of the game in the third. Kind of like the hitter who bemoans the line drive into a fielder's glove and forgets about the Texas Leaguer.
Yeah, but if you're a 300 hitter, you get more of those doggone line drives at him than you do those bloops. They don't even out.
One and one to Ruiz. Capuano far more effective against lefties throughout his career and again this year.
And he's made a little adjustment from Yankee Stadium. He is pitching the right-handers in because that is the pitch he needs to set up that changeup.
Now ahead 1-2. And the changeup swung and missed. And that is strikeout number 6 for Chris Capuano. 6 strikeouts in 4 innings, but the Phillies lead at 1-0. Here's your AT&T trivia question for today. Jose Reyes, one of 2 active players to be his team's all-time leader in runs scored. Who is the other? Current player who has the all-time franchise record for his team for runs scored.
Think of a person that's played with the team his entire career.
I got an idea. Yep.
Jason Bay leading off in the home 4th inning, and he takes a strike. Bay grounded out to third base his first time up. One and 2 to Bay. You can almost see the exasperated sigh after every pitch.
It's taking its toll on Jason. The frustration is apparent.
And he's normally so even keeled, but it's wearing on him. Chopper to left side. Rollins hurries in and gets Bay by a stride, 1 away. And there it is again. Now Daniel Murphy with 1 out.
I'll say one thing for Jason. He runs everything out 100% down that line. And it's easy to hit a ground ball like that, folks, and just give it a little 80%.
Yeah.
He never does.
I thought Murphy had one of the better games he's had all season long yesterday, Keith, huh? On the bat better?
Yeah, he swung the bat a lot better yesterday.
With 3 hits, including a double his last time up.
He's got the barrel out yesterday. He's been just taking that pitch away, which is his strength.
I'll argue that he's changed so much that it's not his strength anymore.
It's almost like he's fielding for that ball away. Slashes that one foul. It's at least a better swing than a pitch outside.
I remember Lou Brock telling me when they were pounding me inside when I was young and I couldn't hit that hard cut slider in my hands from right-handers, and Lou said, "You're looking into your weakness instead of your strength. You know, where do you like the ball?" I go, "I like it away." He goes, "Well, so do I." He goes, "You're looking into where don't you like it?" I said, "Well, I don't like it in, particularly slide it from right-hander." And he goes, "Then why are you swinging at it?"
Seems simple enough, huh?
The majority of Murphy's hits have been to right field this year, and he takes that one the other way for a base hit. Well, Murphy's starting to find himself. He now has a 7-game hitting streak. Aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV.
One thing you got to realize as a hitter, Gary, is that if you're going to take that pitch away and you're going to take swings where you're just fouling them off, they're going to keep on throwing you out there until you hit it. And then once you start hitting it like that and driving it, then you're forcing the pitcher to change the program. Then he's going to do something different. They're not dummies out there. They know what's going on.
Contrary to what you say behind our backs.
I just thought that was gratuitous there.
Pagan had a base hit in his first at bat off the disabled list his first time up. And he raised his average 12 points.
Yep.
There you go.
So let's watch his front shoulder and see if he keeps it in. He didn't exactly tear it up down in rehab, which means nothing.
But Terry Collins mentioned that when they sent him down to get well physically, they also sent him down with some homework to do,
right,
to get that swing better.
Spent his entire rehab in Florida. Then was supposed to play for Buffalo last night, but got rained out. But despite missing what was scheduled to be his only AAA game, the Mets opted to activate him today. They sent Fernando Martinez back to Buffalo to make room. Murphy almost got caught in a pretzel.
Looked like Boris Karloff getting back to that bag. That went over the head of a few fans.
It's a Frankenstein reference. Now ball catches Ruiz, and it's 2-2.
Boy, there's a toughness in Ruiz, isn't there? But watch how he reacts after it hits him in the mask. Hits him right on the chin. And as soon as he gets it, he pulls his mask off and says, hey, give me another ball. Let's go.
I remember when the Phillies first called him up. He had been in the minor leagues forever. Nobody considered him a prospect. But all he did was take the job and run with it.
One of those overachievers, not a greatly gifted athlete, but hard work. It's always nice to see that.
2-2 to Pagan. And he pops one up. Rollins out. Ibanez in to call. And that's the second out.
Well, that's just a good sequence of pitches from Oswalt right there. You recall Angel's first at bat, the line drive to left field and a pitch away. What did he do here? He in and out. He popped him and went in and got him with 2 strikes.
Well, you're right, Keith. He was. I call those the kitchen sink at bats. You see every pitch from Oswalt in that bat.
There's Polino, who singled to center his first time up. That's 5 hits off Oswalt, but have not been able to play to run.
And he wasn't going to give Polino a first ball fastball. The first ball fastball hit him the first at bat. Threw a little change up at him. It's the part of the game I love.
Snap throw by Ruiz, and Murphy gets the hand back in.
Nice crowd on a beautiful Friday night.
Start of the Memorial Day weekend, the unofficial beginning of summer. Traffic hellacious everywhere you go.
You left your house early today, right?
Yes, Keith and I both did.
Yes, I saw it coming in from on the LIE.
I was going to say, what did it look like on the other side of the road today?
It just was backing up out on exit 50. That's the softest throw to first ever.
You know, I will tell you, when I watch Oswalt, he reminds me of an old 44 for the Mets, David Cone. Different assortment of pitches, but shorter at 6 feet tall, but very thick and strong, and also uses the lower body as well as anyone.
There goes Murphy, and throwing from his knees, Ruiz gets it there too late. I think Ruiz was expecting a third strike call, and that's why he hesitated throwing the ball. No, not.
No, he saw the jump by Murph, and he had no shot to throw out Murph if he came up out of the stance here. So good jump by Murph.
Also, I guess if you're a catcher, your first obligation on a curveball is to ensure that you're going to block it if it's in the dirt.
Stop it.
Yep.
Second stolen base of the year for Murphy. Mets are already 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position tonight. They were 1 for 12 in the game yesterday in Chicago. Mets came into the day as a team hitting .222 with runners in scoring position, only .195 with 2 out and runners in scoring position. It's been a huge problem for the Mets all year. Two, and Polino a check swing foul. That's why you look at a team that's 4th in the league in on base percentage, 8th in slugging percentage, but only 11th in runs scored.
Get him on, but you got to get him in at some point. Murph had a 2-out RBI in yesterday's game.
Seventh pitch of the at bat coming to Polino. And Ronnie takes it inside, 3-2.
Well, they're just staying in on Polino, and Polino is an opposite field hitter. Even though they're not playing defensively in the outfield that way, they're pretty much straight up in the outfield.
Oswalt walks very few. He hasn't walked more than 2 batters in any of his last 12 starts. So you expect to get a strike here. And he bounces one down to third for Polanco. Polino retired, and so are the Mets. So Oswalt's worked around base runners in every inning. 1-0 Phillies after 4. John Mayberry will lead off for the Phils. Well, we heard the bad news today about Gary Carter. Remember that Gary was diagnosed with some brain tumors, and they went in and explored the area today, and according to the Carter family, there's a 90% chance that those tumors in Gary's brain are malignant. And of course that is just horrible news, and we wish Gary all the best in his fight, but gosh, it just makes you feel devastated to hear that.
Well, you folks at home know what a great baseball player, Hall of Famer that Gary is and was, but in playing with him,
Pagan hustling in, has to play it on hot. Mayberry heads for second, and Bay's throw skips away, and Mayberry will go to third. Murphy's throw to third base, not in time. And so Mayberry winds up at third with nobody out.
Well, it's going to be a single and an error, I would assume, and then an error on the throw, and Murphy's got to be backing up.
It's going to be two errors, a single, an error on Pagan, allowing him to get to second, then an error on Bay, allowing him to get to third.
Well, nice alert base running by Mayberry, and he's all legs, isn't he?
you know, so I was just mentioning that you know, Gary, just an amazing human being, and he's a man of great faith. And he's got a great family behind him, and you know, all of our thoughts and prayers are with them right now as they go through this terrible ordeal.
Well, there's not much I can add to it. I'm just shocked, and I was hopeful that they would be benign. But as you said, Ronnie, he is a man of faith, and that's a strong source of strength that you can draw on. And yeah, our prayers are with you, you and your family.
Well, we will certainly be hoping for the best for Gary Carter and his wife Sandy and his kids. I mean, it's a wonderful family, and he's a terrific guy, and every Met fan holds a special place in his heart for Gary Carter. As Oswalt drives one in left center for a base hit, that'll chase home Mayberry, and it's 2-0 Philadelphia. So Oswalt drives in his first run of the year with his second hit.
Well, Ronnie said it his first at bat. Don't let the 091 batting average lull you to sleep. He knows how to swing the bat, and that's just a nice little level swing.
Well, maybe the Philadelphia pitchers have taken it upon themselves. Cliff Lee in yesterday's ball game had 3 RBI.
Well, the day before you had a second baseman pitch and get a win, and so they're trading places. Taken high by Rollins, who drove in the first run with a base hit to center in the third. So just as was the case in Chicago the other night, the Mets hurting themselves with their defense, throwing the ball around a little bit, helping the Phillies to a run. Mets have played fine defense for most of the year, and they're in a position right now with their offense compromised that they just can't be giving away runs. Rollins pulls one. Great stop by Turner. He gets the out at second. A spectacular play by Justin Turner on a bullet to his right.
Well, Jimmy Rollins has got to be saying, what is he playing me on the line for? But my goodness, what a play. This is double written all over it, and big trouble for the Mets. Just a terrific play.
Well, it's the second sensational play on the Mets infield tonight. Tejada in the second, robbing Ibanez, and now Turner with the play on Rollins.
And of all the uneven play that you saw in Chicago and here in the beginning, it wasn't Turner who produced some fine plays in Chicago.
1 out and 1 on now. Utley, who struck out and been grazed by a pitch, and he pulls one foul. I'd buy a ticket.
Why not?
Fastball for a strike. 0-2.
I always like off a left-hander, Gary, if they pop me a fastball inside and I pulled it foul, that I would look away the next pitch, the outer half of the plate.
Now, as a pitcher, when a guy pulls a ball foul, does it worry you to come back inside?
In the beginning of my career, I would say, oh yeah, here, have another one. Let's see if we can pull this one foul. Later in my career, I said, okay, I get the message. I'm going to go on the outside corner. Didn't have enough to get back in there.
Down to Murphy. Out at second. Returned by Reyes. In time for the 3-6-3 double play. Started and finished by Mr. Murphy. So the Mets, after giving up an unearned run, make some nice plays. 2-0.
Nicely done, Daniel.
At Citi Field, fantastic night against Roy Oswalt. Takes first pitch inside. I'm up here on the left field landing. It's Celiac Awareness Night tonight at Citi Field. Proceeds of the night going to the Long Island Rock Foundation, the National Celiac Awareness Group. And while I may be up here, down on the field, guys, remember the last time we were here? Monsoon conditions. It wasn't pretty for Bill Deacon and the grounds crew. They did yeoman's work to get this field playable last week. Well, the field is kind of back to opening day condition right now. And essentially what happened is they had to kind of start over in a way. They took sand, actually, and put it all over the grass part. What that does, takes away some of the organic material and actually kind of evens out the grassy part. Then they had to scoop up all of that turfus, that diamond dry substance, and kind of start over. They filled in some infield mix, took a string, and leveled the field. They do that usually once a month, but with all the rain, they had to do it this past week. Field looking and feeling like new tonight. Guys?
Kevin, great job tonight with the Celiac Awareness event as Tejada grounds one to Rollins. How many folks did you have here for that?
350 tickets tonight, Gary. So proceeds of all those going to those groups, and we had some auction items as well. Really a great turnout. So we appreciate all the support tonight. It was great.
That's terrific, Kevin. Of course, Kevin, a leading spokesman for Celiac Awareness. He and his wife Rachel both have that condition, and they've done great work at nurturing a lot of awareness, because a lot of people who have celiac disease don't know that they do, and as the word has gotten out there, more people have been properly diagnosed.
Well, I don't know about you, but I think Keith and I didn't know anything about it until we met Kevin. and got to know Kevin.
So now they have a gluten-free food stand here at Citi Field, where folks who suffer from celiac disease can enjoy a snack at the ballpark and avoid the gluten that upsets their system. 1-2 to Capiano, who grounded out to first base his first time up. And the curveball from Oswalt gets him. It's in the dirt. And Ruiz makes the toss to complete the putout for the first strikeout of the night for Roy Oswalt. It's one of the best online sources for Mets information, straight from a blogger passionate about the team as you are, featuring a constant flow of the latest Mets news and opinion. Mets blog presented by Verizon, featured on SNY.TV, your online home of all things New York sports. And I was very happy tonight that the Mets paid tribute to Dana Brand, a prominent Mets blogger who passed away earlier this week. They had a nice tribute to Dana on the scoreboard. He was a wonderful guy. And I'm glad that the Mets saw fit to remember him in that fashion tonight.
I saw Dana in the last week, and just sad that life is so fleeting.
Yeah. Well, he came to Foley's, where you and I were doing some celebrity bartending. He's such a big Mets fan. So we're going to miss Dana greatly. And sometime in the near future, there's going to be a memorial event. So folks should keep their eye out for that. Good curveball by Oswalt to get ahead on Reyes 0-2.
All of a sudden, Oswalt is starting to use his curveball, and he seems to be getting into a little bit of a groove.
See, Oswalt, they asked for the ball because it hit the dirt, and Laz Diaz asked him. He said, "No, it's fine. I got it. See, it's good. It's no problem with it." He's having a bit bemused by having to toss that good ball in.
He's not particularly happy with Jose on that.
Well, the world has changed in that respect. And so Jose pops up the curveball. It used to be that balls would stay in play routinely when they hit the dirt, and Utley and Rollins come together and the ball drops. Well, I don't know if that's a consequence of Utley being recently returned to the lineup, but that's something you don't see very often.
It should have been Rollins' ball. It's on his side of the bag.
And thus they're going to charge the error to Utley.
And in a strange way, the shortstop almost has precedence over any of these balls that are in the outfield. And they've played so many games together that you would think, even being out for a few weeks, that would not be a problem.
This is the 88th game that Utley and Rollins have started together against the Mets. There are only two other double play combinations ever who have played more games against the Mets, and both were for the Cubs. Glenn Beckert and Don Kessinger, and Ryan Sandberg and Sean Dunston. Turner's 2 for 2. He's singled and doubled tonight.
Boy, I tell you what, I just love Oswalt. He is such a cutout of the old school. He is not afraid to run that fastball up there. 2 for 2. Turner off him. 2 bullets. Came right after him with an upstairs fastball.
Well, Oswalt loves this ballpark. This is his second start at Citi Field. Last year he threw a complete game shutout, and he's shut out the Mets so far tonight. As we said at the outset, one of the best pitchers of his generation. 153 wins and only 85 losses. Ahead on Turner 0-2, and Justin hits it hard, base hit, and Justin Turner is 3 for 3.
Well, here's a case where your pitcher should have been in the dugout. And I tell you what, he tried to back it up 3 times in a row with fastballs, Ronnie, and fooled him the second strike, but not this one.
Well, he hit the catcher's glove. That's where they wanted that baseball.
Good hitting by Turner. 2 strikes going the other way, protecting the plate.
Mercedes-Benz Ultra Mo brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. So a chance for Beltran with 2 out and 2 on. Tying runs aboard in the 5th inning. And the fastball away for ball 1. Well, Turner has 3 hits in this game. First one he hit up the middle. Second one he pulled right over the third base bag. And the third one he shot to right field.
Coast to coast. Boy, Beltran could sit on a change up here. I know you don't do that at hitters. You don't want to let the fastball go. But he has been trying to get him out with changeups and curveballs tonight.
Fastball right after him.
Now, as a pitcher, you're going to be wary with Beltran because you've got a cold hitter on deck. But can you afford to do that with 2 men on?
No, not 2 men on. You can't have the bases loaded for Jason Bay, and you be the recipient of him breaking out.
One and one to Carlos.
And he rips it into right field, a base hit. Reyes turns third. He's being waved home. The throw by Francisco. Not in time. Turner to third. Carlos Beltran gets the Mets on the board, and it's 2-1.
Well, I couldn't agree more with Carlos's philosophy up there. What do you want to hit? His great changeup, his great curveball, or do you want to send a fastball? And you've got a pitcher in Oswalt, who we've seen him enough when he's in trouble. His blood gets up. He likes to come after hitters. So sit on that fastball. Nice hitting by Carlos.
So the first run allowed by Roy Oswalt at Citi Field, albeit an unearned run. And now the Mets have the tying run at third with Bay at the plate. Jason twice has grounded out to the left side. And fouls the first pitch fastball back. Jason Bay started the day 2 for 25 with runners in scoring position. That's 080.
And I'm sure he's the one guy that knows that too. Don't think it's not in the back of his head.
Now Oswalt has him in a 2-strike hole.
Pretty much straight up the middle.
And Bay down on 3 pitches. So Oswalt has his second strikeout. Let's get an unearned run as Beltran drives it home after 5. It's 2-1 Phillies. Reyes is his team's all-time leader in runs scored, active player.
Tennessee quarterback.
Oh.
Todd Helton spent his entire career as a Rocky. He's got 1,288 runs scored. Larry Walker is second with 892.
Well, you think it might be Jeter, but you forget about Ricky Henderson.
Yeah. And Lou Gehrig and
yes.
Babe.
Yes.
Placido Polanco leading off the 6th inning for the Phillies. Polanco has taken a cold 3rd strike, and then with 2 men on in the 4th, he popped up. 2 big outs for Capuano tonight. It'll be Polanco, then Howard and Francisco. And there's a strike, 0-2.
No, just a well-pitched ball game, crisp game. You know, there's 3 errors, 2 unearned runs. It's still a crisp game, all because of the pitchers working fast, throwing strikes.
In the air to center, and an easy play for Angel Pagan. Nice to see Angel patrolling out there again. 1 out and nobody on. Well, Jason Bay's woes continue. Big RBI spot with the tying run at third.
Well, we talked about Oswalt being aggressive. Fastball up and in. Change up, down, out of the strike zone, sinking. Didn't waste any time. Another one. Both not strikes, but that great sink, the late dive of that changeup. And always when you're hot and that first pitch fastball, usually you put it in play.
Yeah.
You know, I just sense Jason being a little tentative, and I've been there before when you've struggled. Now, I have never struggled as much as he has over a year and a half, so it's got to be doubly, triply, quadruply worse mentally. And you can become tentative and get caught in between. It's just been a tough slog for him, boy, I'll tell you.
Howard gets one in on his hands and pulls it foul, and it's 0-2. Is there any answer? I mean, is there anything you can do changing routines? I mean, you don't want to change your mechanics too much, I don't think.
No. I mean, what got you to the dance? This is a guy that went over and talk about a pressure situation. He took over Manny Ramirez in left field in Fenway and did a great job. So I'm just, I can't put my finger on it, but I know it's wearing on him.
Do you believe that the ballpark has had an impact on him?
I do think that the park, because there are some balls, obviously Fenway's a lot closer, some fly balls he would have hit that are line drives that are off the wall. They're big F7s here.
But you know, he played in Pittsburgh. That's a big left field.
But Pittsburgh's not as big as this park.
0-2 to Howard, and he gets him on a slider. Chris Capuano's had a big strikeout night. That's his 7th, 1 shy of his season high. 2 out and nobody on. Let's check in with Chris Carlin, who has a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break.
Well,
back-to-back 4-hit games can get you going, can't they?
With the Red Sox the way they've been playing, and if Carl Crawford gets back in a groove for the second half, well, not even more than the second half.
He is in the groove right now.
It could be lights out in the division.
Well, also, you know, the Yankees are starting a West Coast trip. Yeah. Playing in Seattle against a Mariners team that all of a sudden can throw good pitching at you just about every day, and that gives the Red Sox a chance maybe to jump into first place.
I mean, Fister has pitched well. They're facing Pineda today or tonight.
They're going to get King Felix too.
I mean, Felix Hernandez and Michael Pineda is that's about as good a 1-2 punch as they got in that league. 2-1 out of Francisco.
You know, to go one step further, you're talking about Jason Bay, and hitters never want to talk about a stadium getting in their head. We have no problem assuming that a small stadium can get in a pitcher's head.
That's true.
No problem thinking that. Rockies and how some of the pitchers they signed in the day and say, you know what, they can't pitch here because it's in their head. Why can't it be in the hitter's head?
That's a very good point, Ron. The pitcher's got to pitch in Philadelphia in that bandbox.
Two to Francisco. And a full count. Francisco had a bunt hit his last time up. While Lavagna is next. 3-2. Struck him out. Change up from Capuano. Strikeout number 8. And that matches his season high. 1-2-3 go the Phillies. Mets down by a run. Mets Weekly. Chris Capuano talks about his first season playing in New York. Plus, head to the minors for an inside look at Mets prospect Alan Dykstra. Mets Weekly, new episode Sunday at 6, only on SNY. Daniel Murphy, first pitch swinging, rolls one out to Utley, one pitch for Oswalt, and one out in the home sixth.
How do we get Dykstra? Antonelli? Mike Antonelli, the pitcher?
That's right. Yeah.
He's been Antonini. Sorry about that. Tearing the cover off the ball.
So one out. Here's Angel Pagan, 1 for 2 in his return to the lineup after missing 30 games on the disabled list.
And at the corners at third base, Polanco. And that's why. That is precisely why.
Well, we've been waiting all night for somebody to test Oswalt's back with a bunt.
Howard's kind of in nowhere's land right now. Just show in, and then when Oswalt goes in his windup, push back, cover some ground.
Curveball bouncing away. Mets have had 7 hits off Oswalt. They've had at least 1 hit in every inning. But finally got a run thanks to a Chase Utley error, producing an unearned run in the 5th.
Well, you can see Howard right here. He's kind of in nowhere's land. You know, either you're going to come in or you're going to get back. So my feeling is push back with the windup.
Hit hard, base hit for Pagan. So Angel is 2 for 3. And the Mets get the tying run aboard in the 6th. Ronnie Polino coming up. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt, who's live in the Assault Club.
You know, guys talked a lot about that Phillies wild 19-inning game the other night. Well, in those types of games we saw with the Mets against the Cardinals in St. Louis, when Mike Pelfrey got the save, there's always those unsung guys. Danny Baez was the unsung guy. He went 5 innings of scoreless relief through 74 pitches for a relief pitcher. In fact, David Murphy, the Philly Daily News, tabulated he threw 128 pitches in 7 days that week. I talked to him today. He said, you know, I've closed. I've done a lot of things in my career. That probably was the greatest day of my career, to be involved in a team win like that and to be able to contribute like that. I did not want to come out of that game. I asked him about his arm. He said it's a little sore, but he played catch yesterday, played catch today. He'll be ready to go tomorrow. And, you know, guys, when you talk about that, I mean, what does that do for his stature in that clubhouse?
Well, Danny Baez is one of those guys that fills a lot of different roles, especially with all the injuries that Philadelphia's had to their bullpen.
Pagan runs. Ruiz's throw is dropped, and Pagan is safe with a stolen base, his 5th of the year. And so the tying run is now in scoring position.
Well, this is what the Mets have missed from Pagan, and I like the fact that Angel has 2 base hits, Gary, line drives to left field. Now remember, eventually when everybody comes back healthy,
Polino cracks one to the left for a base hit. Pagan's being waved around. Here comes the throw by Ibanez to the plate. Not in time. Down to second, Polino. The game is tied. Angel Pagan using his wheels to get the Mets even as Polino drives in the tying run.
wants to come inside and does not get the sink he wanted. And Polino right on it. And Chip Hale showing some aggressiveness there with that call home on Pagan. As Ibanez does not have a strong arm, and that's why he sent them. And Polanco's got to cut that ball off.
Well, Chip Hale doesn't make very many bad decisions there at third base.
Tejada pops it up. And Jimmy Rollins there to grab it for the second out.
Emphatically called that one off.
So now the game is tied. Capuano is due up, and Capuano waiting at the top step of the dugout to see whether Terry Collins wants him to hit. And the answer is no. Willie Harris will bat for Capuano as Michael Stutz gets up in the Philly bullpen. So the Mets have gotten even. Capuano only 77 pitches. He's pitched really well today. But I think Terry feels as though he's got to take his shot here.
Well, maybe this is because of the lack of production for the Mets offense. Beato, who pitched in yesterday's ball game, up again.
That's a tough hook right there.
I wouldn't hook him. I was thrown too well.
I'd keep him in.
Well, especially now that you've gotten even. If you're down by a run here, it's different.
I don't mind if you're down by a shot, but you have an even game, and Capuano gives you the best shot to go 2 more innings with an even game.
So Willie Harris will try and get the Mets the lead with Polino at second and 2 out.
And that's one of those decisions a manager makes, and I know that we know Terry well enough. He doesn't feel good about doing that, but he's going for the win.
Yep.
Or at least to get ahead.
And he's going to go right back to Beato, who had the worst performance of his brief career yesterday. In a difficult situation in Chicago, coming in for the injured Dickey on a freezing cold day. Harris hits a slow grounder. Howard fields and flips, and the side retired. Mets get even. Pagan sparking it, and Polino driving it in. 2-2 as we go to the 7th. To you by Partners Executive Transportation. Let Partners chauffeur you safely to and from the ballpark. Call them at 800-894-9414. By freescore.com, 3 credit scores, 1 place. And by State Farm. Today's State Farm agent of the day is, guess what? Pat Cawley of Glendale, New York. Contact Pat's office at patcawley.org. Well, Terry Collins made the decision to have Willie Harris bat for Chris Capuano. It might hurt him on 2 fronts. Capuano out of the game. And Harris appeared to hurt himself running out of the box.
And you can see him wince.
So he was very gimpy going down to first base, went right down the tunnel toward the clubhouse. Meanwhile, Capuano done after leaving for the pinch hitter, and Pedro Beato will try and bounce back from his tough day in Chicago.
Well, his first 18 2/3 innings, no earned runs. His last 2 innings, 5 earned runs. So it's been a little bit of a test here for Beato. In his defense, yesterday, cold conditions, had to come and warm up on the field, and a lot of young pitchers always kind of shut it down too early when they're warming up in those conditions.
I mean, they're told that they're allowed to have as many warm-ups as they want, but you know, with everybody waiting for you and watching you, that's hard to do.
And you got your teammates out on the field in that cold weather.
Ibanez hits a slow ground ball. Reyes able to wait for it. Low throw, but Murphy scoops it out. 1 away. Well, I talked to Pedro today before the game, and he said he could never feel the ball. That he just, it was so cold, his fingers just didn't have any feeling at all as he tried to grip the baseball.
You know, the guys today, as you see this replay, nice scoop by Murph. The guys today yesterday they had the sleeves on, but they use more of the sleeve today is that Under Armour sleeve. It's really, really light In our day, we had kind of those real thick cotton sleeves, and you used to be able to wet it, Gary. So in that cold weather, you'd always have some moisture on your fingers to help you with the curveball or changeup.
Carlos Ruiz scored the first Philly run after walking in the third, then struck out in the fourth.
So much tighter now.
Well, he looks more like his old self today, popping that fastball. And came on in the third inning, got an out, but then walked a man, gave him a 2-run homer to Carlos Pena, and just could not put that inning to bed before he had given up 4 runs.
And don't forget, you know, after that great start, you have an outing in Yankee Stadium for a New York kid. You have an outing in Wrigley Field.
That was a good fastball, 2-2.
It's going to be, whether you like it or not, it's going to be overwhelming at times.
Yeah. But I think that you look at both those outings and you say, well, you know, the Yankee Stadium one, he threw a great pitch to A-Rod and he did 45 feet. Tejada with another terrific play. And he throws out Ruiz. That's 2 of them today for Ruben Tejada.
Well, nice play by Ruben. Again, we know about the glove. If this man can hit, he's going to have a long career.
It's just the range, Keith and Gary, that he has. That these are balls off the bat. If you're a pitcher, you're like, shucks, that's going to be a base hit. And he comes up with his play. It lifts not only the pitcher, it lifts the whole team.
And as a shortstop playing second base with a shortstop's range and a shortstop's arm, and the ability to turn a double play, despite not having played there much before he wound up at that position last year with the Mets. John Mayberry takes ball 1. Mayberry singled, advanced on 2 errors, and scored on a base hit by Oswalt for the run that at the time gave the Phillies a 2-0 lead.
I must say, I'm going to make a point here. Laz Diaz has given him a lot of criticism over the years. He's had a fine day behind the plate, calling balls and strikes. He has been consistent.
To shortstop, Reyes on the backhand, guns down Mayberry. Beato bounces back with a 1-2-3 inning, getting 3 ground balls. A little help from Tejada along the way. Down a tie game. The Mets are at the top of the batting order, coming up in the bottom of the 7th with Jose Reyes trying to get it started. This is New York Sports with live reports, game previews, exclusive interviews, and heated debate on Daily News Live, Wheelhouse, and Loudmouths, all part of the New York Sports Local, weekdays starting at 5 on SNY. Aerial coverage brought to you by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to get DirecTV. And we've been the beneficiaries of some wonderful shots from the blimp tonight as Michael Stutz takes over for Roy Oswalt in the bottom of the 7th.
Another one of those Oregon State collegians in the major leagues. Michael Stutz has six straight scoreless appearances for the Phillies and 12 out of 13.
Oregon State won back-to-back College World Series championships in 06 and 07. Stutz played on the 06 team, and then he was the ace of the 07 team. Played with former Mets prospect Eddie Coons, who was closing games for Oregon State.
Probably had to play with, it was Darwin Barney that you guys saw this week.
Reyes 0 for 3 today, and he lines one down the left field line. That's a fair ball bouncing into the corner. Reyes to second as Ibanez plays to Karam, and Jose Reyes has his 16th double of the year.
Well, I always love Jose when he goes the other way, particularly from this side of the plate. And that is sweet hitting. That is hitting the ball right where it's pitched. And the Mets are in business here late in this ball game.
Well, Roy Oswalt came out after 6 innings and only 90 pitches. Stutz has been pitching well, but he gives up a leadoff double to Reyes. And you see that he's closing in on Lance Johnson's record for the most hits through 50 games. Lance holds the Mets club record for hits in a season with 227.
Boy, it's just another. I wouldn't have taken Oswalt out. I mean, how many pitches did he have?
Well,
90.
I will say, though, right now with the back injury, he's been more of a 5- and 6-inning pitcher. You know, talking defensively, what they're going to do here, Turner having a hot night, I'd let him swing the bat.
Well, Turner went down to talk to Chip Hale to see what Terry Collins wants him to do. He's 3 for 3 in this game. An infield single behind second, a double down the left field line, and a base hit to right.
And the reason I say that is that I believe Turner can handle the bat. He's one of those guys that can shoot the ball the other way.
Well, there they are set up in the defense. They're going to probably, with Reyes, you can't put the wheel on. You're not going to beat him over there to third base.
I'm not convinced he's bunting.
I agree.
So let's see what Terry Collins has in mind. Howard getting set to charge. And Stutz holding it, seeing if Turner will give it away.
It's a good play by the Phillies and Stutz. That's what you do. See if Turner was going to tip his hand. He did not.
Usually managers like to give a good hot hitter one first pitch, one strike.
Oh, to second into center field. Reyes doesn't see it. Now takes off to third. The throw by Mayberry, not in time. Well, Stutz threw to nobody. Reyes didn't know it, but left in time to get to third on the error by Stutz.
Well, Stutz obviously thought there was a pickoff, and I've got to go with the veterans.
But it doesn't matter if you don't see your player turning, because Turner is doing some coaching himself.
At the get up Jose yell.
If you turn as a pitcher and you don't have a player there, just hold the baseball.
Well, that's a youthful mistake right there.
Right. Now the infield comes in, and Turner takes a strike. So Justin Turner with a golden chance to give the Mets their first lead of the night, with Beltran and Bay to follow. Reyes at third and nobody out. And Turner punches it into right field for a base hit. He has his 4th hit, and the Mets have their first lead of the night. 3-2 New York. Rich Doobie out for a conversation with Stutz. Justin Turner with his first 4-hit game of his career.
Well, he's going that way all the way, and we've said he's a good breaking ball hitter. That was a hanger, Ronnie. But a hanger that you could pull. But there's a good approach there, boy. Turner likes that 2-hole on. They got him out of that 6 spot in that lineup.
What a concept, though. We talk about this all the time. In RBI situations, up the middle and the other way is a great approach.
Got ourselves a nice little ball game here.
So the Mets have the lead, and now Beltran looking for more. He drove in the first Met run with a 5th inning single. It's the 4th time this season that a Met has had 4 or more hits in a game. Polino, of course, had a 5-hit game against the Phillies. Reyes and Wright each have had a 4-hit game, and now Justin Turner, the first of his career. And Beltran lines one to right, but moving over Francisco to make the grab. Well, the Mets have hit some balls hard in this inning against Michael Stutz. 1 out.
Well, it's a big hang with him for Carlos. He's been spinning such a good bat. Can't guide it.
So now Jason Bay has gone 0 for 3, 2 ground ball outs, and then struck out to strand 2 in the 5th. Jason Isringhausen getting ready to pitch the 8th. Pedro Beato is pitcher of record on the long side now. Chris Capuano with the first 6. Beato pitched a 1-2-3-7. And after taking the loss yesterday in Chicago, Beato has a chance for a win. There goes Turner. The throw by Ruiz in time. Close play, but Utley got the tag down on Turner for the 2nd out.
I like the effort there. It's a good time to steal. Nice try. Get in scoring position, you're ahead. I like it. It's a good throw. Strong throw by Ruiz.
Close.
Well, kind of a phantom tag, too, wasn't it? Did he run it up his arm?
He got him. I think he got him just before he got to the bag. But a good time to steal. Good time to steal.
Well, the Mets had stolen twice earlier in the game. Murphy and Pagan. But Turner's gunned down.
Only thing he's done wrong tonight. Wow.
And Bay takes in tight. Now it's 3-0 to Jason. Well, you got to turn him loose here, right?
Yes.
Give him a crack to do something good.
Yes, at least give him the option.
But he takes it inside for ball 4. And so the inning continues for Daniel Murphy. So Bay is aboard for the first time tonight. That's the first walk by Philly pitching. Oswald went 6 innings, allowed 2 runs, only 1 earned on 9 hits, no walks, 2 strikeouts. A no decision for Oswald, as for Capuano. Murphy's 1 for 3, now has a 7-game hitting streak. Single to left in the 4th. Well, Stutz had 6 straight scoreless appearances until this one. Gave up the leadoff double to Reyes. Made the errant pickoff throw to nobody, and then gave up the run when Turner singled in Reyes.
I like Stutz's arm. He got those hard.
Phillies just got Jose Contreras back from the disabled list. He's now their 8th inning guy. Out to left center. Over comes Mayberry, and he cruises to get it. Side retired. But the Mets grab the lead in the bottom of the 7th inning. Jose Reyes plays catalyst, leading off the inning, taking one the other way for a 2-base hit. Moves up to 3rd on a throw to nobody. And Justin Turner with his 4th hit gets the run in to give the Mets a 3-2 lead as we head to the 8th at Citi Field. Morton as the Mets open their series against the Pirates in a Memorial Day matchup at Citi Field. Mets-Pirates coverage begins with Pepsi Max pregame live Monday at 6:30 only on SNY. Jason Isringhausen on to pitch the 8th, and Dominic Brown pinch hitting for the Phillies.
Well, Izzy gave up a home run in yesterday's game to Fukudome. Get that out of his system and back to work.
Well, very frigid day, to say the least.
And we saw the way Beato bounced back in the 7th. Is he trying to do the same here in the 8th, protecting a 1-run lead? Dominic Brown began the year on the disabled list after breaking the hook of the hamate bone in his hand, swinging at a pitch early in spring training. And was recently recalled and probably is going to get more and more playing time in right field, especially if Ben Francisco struggles. And he hits one back up the middle, a base hit for Brown. And so the Phillies have the tying run aboard. Jimmy Rollins coming up. Let's check in with Chris Carlin for a New York State Smokers Quit Line game break. Brewers are the hottest team in the majors right now. They've won 13 of 16 to pull within 2.5 of the Cardinals in the Central. Rollins steps in, not bunting, and he takes ball 1.
No.
A check and a strike from Isringhausen. Kyle Kendrick up in the Phillies bullpen.
The old adage in baseball is at home you play for the tie and on the road you play for the win.
Rollins was robbed of a hit on a great play by Turner his last time up. And as he gets ahead of him 0-2. You know the only people who pay attention to holds? Relief pitchers. There goes Brown. The pitch high. Polito's throw into the runner. And Brown has a stolen base. So the Phillies pick up their second stolen base of the night.
Boy, good pitch to throw, but didn't really get behind that baseball.
A perfect throw wouldn't have got him. A lot of great jump, but this kid can fly. I like this young man. He's got some talent.
So now the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. Tim Burdack up with an eye toward Ryan Howard, 3 batters away. Of course, you also have Utley on deck, a left-hand hitter. 1-2 to Rollins, and the curveball pulled over the bag. That's a fair ball. That'll tie up the ball game. Brown is in to score. Rollins racing for second, and he pulls in there with an RBI double, and we're back even at 3.
Well, I am a stickler on late in the game, tying run, winning run, up at the plate or on the bases. You got to guard the lines. You cannot allow this to happen. And the Mets get burned here.
And Keith, you make a great point. If it's a single between Murphy and Tejada, the game is tied, but you have a man on first base. Instead of, you've allowed a base runner to get in scoring position. IOTB pitch differential. You want that curveball to bounce instead up in the zone.
So now the go-ahead run at second with nobody out, and Utley the batter. Utley 0 for 2. And he takes a fastball for a strike.
I know Utley, a professional enough hitter, you know that he's going to get something he's going to try to pull. If he cannot drive in the run, he's certainly going to advance the runner.
Utley has 3 hits and 5 career at bats against Jason Isringhausen. And Utley hits one in the air to right center. Beltran easing back. Rollins tagging. And he'll head over to third. So a productive out by Utley, and that moves the go-ahead run to third base with 1 out. So a huge hitter coming up in Polanco. In a strikeout situation, a guy who almost never strikes out.
And the Mets are going to have to bring the infield in. And that's going to get Dan Warthen out there to the mound.
And it's with all of his great numbers, it's maybe those little at-bats that Utley takes during the course of the season that really defines these Phillies.
Well, a situation where you certainly want to drive on the run, but if you're not going to, you want to make sure to get that runner over to third.
The first ball was away. He just spit on it, said, I'm not going to swing at that pitch, looking for something in. Got it.
So now how do you pitch to Polanco here in this kind of situation?
Boy. You know, it's almost impossible. You know you're not going to strike him out, so he did hit a pop-up earlier in the game. Might try to pop him up by throwing something in and hard. But you can pitch him away and try to get the infield to try to cover over there.
Antonio Bastardo up in the Phillies bullpen. And Polanco first pitch swinging, fouls it back.
I like that, going right at him, up and in. First pitch. Polanco is a guy that is going to, his approach, I can guarantee you Polanco's approach is, I'm confident I can inside out a ball in the air to the opposite field. And if he throws me the great breaking ball, I'm going to be going up the middle. I can hit that. Now, where does that make him more vulnerable? It makes him more vulnerable inside.
He had an RBI chance in the third, swung at a first pitch changeup and popped up against Capuano. Up and in, and it's 1-1. Almost mishandled by Paulino.
Well, that was an intent to be a backup to the back-to-back fastballs in. Let's see if they're going to go 3 in a row.
The leadoff walk to Dominic Brown. The leadoff base hit by Dominic Brown, who has come around to score the tying run. Rollins now at third.
Another fastball in. Oh yeah, shake off and then come right back with a fastball in, try to get him to think.
And he popped it up. Rollins will have to hold. Tejada's got it, 2 out. Huge out for Jason Isringhausen, retiring Polanco.
Nicely done by Polanco. I mean, I'm sorry, not Polanco, by
Izzy.
And the catcher,
Paulino.
Jeez, I'm drawing a blank.
No, you're right, because Izzy wanted to go away.
There's nothing fooling anybody in this whole sequence. His fastball's in, he misses, and misses again. And now Paulino puts down fastball. Izzy shakes it off, and Paulino comes back with a fastball sign in and ties him up. That is very outstanding.
Now the Mets will walk Ryan Howard intentionally and pitch instead to Ben Francisco. So an enormous out for Isringhausen. And I don't think anybody in the league would be pitching to Ryan Howard here. The option you'd have would be to bring the lefty in to face Howard, because he's been so vulnerable against lefties this year.
This is a rare game where the Mets have gotten Polanco out this year. Jesus, 0 for 4. And he's left men on base.
They came into the day hitting .407 with 11 RBIs in 6 games against the Mets this season. So the intentional pass puts Howard aboard. First and third and 2 out for Francisco, who's 1 for 3, a bunt single in the fourth.
Now, Keith, the difference here with Francisco, it's different than Polanco, is that Francisco likes the ball middle of the plate in.
Yes. So it will not, I would, if he's going to throw him something in, it's going to be off the plate to show him.
And then counter with that cutter.
Fastball away.
And it comes inside. 1-0. And that cutter on the outside corner, 1-1. Francisco with his bunt hit today, just 6 for his last 46. The 1-1 curve from Izzy, and that sits high, 2-1.
Izzy wants the fastball away.
And Francisco nubs it, 2-2.
I like the cutter away. Ibanez on deck. Much better than the curveball or fastball in against Francisco. Pulls off the baseball. So does Izzy.
2-2. Popped it up in foul ground. That'll come back out of play.
Oh, this crowd is alive. I feel like Gene Wilder and Frankenstein.
This will be the 24th pitch of the inning from Isringhausen. He laid off that cutter. Now it's 3-2. So now Howard will be on the move from first base. Rollins the go-ahead run at third. Murphy will play behind Howard. 3-2 to Francisco. And a fly ball to center. Playable for Pagan. Side retired. Isringhausen gives up the tying run, but stiffens from there and strands the go-ahead run at third. To the bottom of the 8th we go, tied at 3. All things New York sports tonight. Jets, hockey, even soccer. Yeah, here at Citi Field, Ecuador and Greece coming up. Geico Sports Night tonight after the postgame, only on SNY.
Bruins game 7, by the way.
Can't wait.
Dominic Brown, who pinch hit, stays in the game in right field. And Antonio Bastardo will pitch. He'll hit 5th in the order.
The last couple of seasons, Bastardo has been that back and forth guy from AAA up to the big leagues, but he has seemed to find his place now with his Philadelphia Phillies team. 25 strikeouts
in 18 innings and only 10 hits allowed. So he has really been a force out of that bullpen that has been missing Brad Lidge all year. Ryan Madsen has nailed down the closer's job. Jose Contreras, who filled in as closer, had been on the DL. He's coming back now as a setup guy.
And this move right here by Charlie Manuel, because of Pagan before he was injured, his struggles from the right side of the plate.
Just 1 for 19 as a right-hand batter. 2 for 3 tonight, batting left-handed. Both the hits go into left field. He's also stolen a base and scored a run. Jason Isringhausen giving up a run, but doing some yeoman work after that to keep the Phillies from taking the lead. Mets have 11 hits. The Phillies have 6. Each team with 2 errors. Tied at 3 in the 8th. And Pagan, first pitch swinging, fouls back the fastball from Bastardo. It'll be Pagan, then Paulino and Tejada due up for the Mets in the 8th. Pagan asking for time. Got something in his eye.
I know that trick.
I know you do.
Do you happen to know what your batting average is on at bats where you quote unquote get something in your eye?
No. But it was always an excuse to break up the pitcher's rhythm. I like this kid, by the way, this left-hander.
Ahead on Pagan, 0-2. And Angel with a check swing foul.
I'll tell you what, the Phillies have brought some kids up from the minor leagues. I'm talking about the two outfielders out there, Dominic Brown and Mayberry, as well as this young man right here. I tell you what, it's a good future for the Phillies.
And even Stutz, who pitched the last inning, who has a good arm. Pagan shoots one to right, but right at Dominic Brown. One away. Pagan's had a nice looking night with the bat.
You took the words out of my mouth, Gary. He's hit the ball hard 3 of the 4 times up.
First game back from the disabled list. Now Ronnie Polino, who's 2 for 3. Boy, he's loved hitting against the Phillies. Had the 5-hit game in his debut as a Met. And 2 for 3 tonight. Drove in the tying run in the 6th inning.
He's due for a long ball too, isn't he? Always has owned left-handed pitchers in his career.
He's yet to hit a home run as a Met. Hits this one out to center field. Mayberry going back. And he makes a nice reaching grab. I'll tell you what, I dropped a Gary Maddox on him earlier in the game. That's exactly who he looks like when he runs.
As soon as the ball is off the bat, you just know it's going to be a double, and he just closes ranks as well as anyone you'll ever see.
Speed kills, doesn't it?
Mercedes-Benz Ultramo, brought to you by your Tri-State dealers on the web at searchmercedes.com. Well, he's filling in for a Gold Glover, Shane Victorino, and he's looking pretty Gold Glove-ish himself. Frankie Rodriguez up in the Mets bullpen. Hadn't pitched in 6 days before yesterday. Got some work in Chicago. Well, here's Tejada, who's 0 for 3. Twice has grounded to short, once has popped to short. Yeah, Ruben takes a fastball for a strike. Good off-speed pitch by Bastardo, and it's 0-2. Scott Hairston's out on deck to pinch hit if Tejada keeps the inning going. Ruben rolls that one. Was it a foul ball or fair ball? They say that it's a foul ball off Tejada. Ruiz was taking no chances going out to get it because Laz Diaz had made no call. There's Hairston on deck.
It's games like this, and I wish I was back in uniform, you know? Otherwise, those 3 games in Chicago, forget it. I'm happy up here.
Well, we gained, you and I, Keith, about 40 degrees today.
Oh.
And boy, was it welcome. And I think everybody down that field feels the same way. Can't be fun. Again, the 0-2. Right at the feet of Tejada, 1-2. Well, with any luck, we should be able to put away the cold weather gear until at least September. Tejada hanging in there. Worked the count to 2-2. There's nobody up in the Phillies bullpen, so if Tejada can get on, you got Hairston, who historically has killed this kind of pitcher. hard throwing lefty. Two from Bastardo, and Tejada fouls another one. 7 pitches deep in this at bat. It's still going. He crunched the ball Tuesday night against Ryan Dempster in Chicago. Hit it off the ivy deep in the well in left field.
Well, the infielders there, Keith, are on the line.
Well, yep, they're guarding the line and a little shade of the opposite field, appropriately in the outfield.
8th pitch of the at bat, and Tejada takes ball 3. Now Bastardo got ahead of him quickly, but now Tejada has run the count full. Now the 3-2. And they'll do it again.
Well, these are the at-bats that Terry Collins always talks about. Tejada has a great ceiling offensively. Can he finish it off by getting on base?
He's going to get a fastball. You're not going to get a free pass on a breaking ball or a change.
Yeah.
He's seen 9 pitches in the at bat. Here's the 10th. It'll be an 11th.
Very poised young man, isn't he, Ronnie?
No, I think the Phillies pitchers lead the world in great body language. They really do. You don't know if they're giving up hits or shutout innings.
That stuff can be contagious too. Again, the 3-2. Check swing foul. I mean, when you have a guy like Halladay on your staff, how can you help but follow his lead?
Halladay, Lee, Oswalt.
Yep.
You know, I think Cole, of all the starters, probably the most kind of emotional out there, but still he uses that to his advantage. He's had quite a early part of this season.
But his maturation has come miles.
Yeah.
He has really come a long way.
Pitch number 12 to Tejada.
Breaking ball.
He keeps it on going. This is something. Stardo's starting to get a little impatient. Ruben hit 3 home runs in Buffalo this year. And he is getting his money's worth.
This is great at bat. Wow.
We are seeing an extraordinary mano-a-mano here between Bastardo and Tejada.
You know, Terry Collins assured people that his team, if anything, even with all the injuries, was going to play 27 hard outs. This is the personification of that mantra.
It's a reflection of the manager.
This will be the 15th pitch of this at bat. And Tejada fouls another one. He keeps throwing them fastballs and staying in it. And the crowd's starting to get in it now.
I think you got to throw a fastball in here, Ronnie.
Look at the crowd.
They're excited.
Now, this is the longest at bat for a Met I can remember in a long time. Alex Cora had a few long ones, but not like this. This is number 16 coming from Bastardo to Tejada. And he walked him. What a saga. Well, you know, you said it earlier, Keith. If he hits at all, well, that counts too.
Yes, it does.
So now Scott Hairston will try and make something of it. Hairston had a ringing double when he came off the bench in Chicago yesterday. Rich Doobie out to talk to the starter just to give him a breather after a 16-pitch at bat.
If anything, Gary, and you're talking about that at bat and that walk counting in the 8th hole, Even if Harrison makes an out, he has flipped the lineup, and Reyes leads off going into the bottom of the ninth. That is so critical.
Well, that plate appearance by Tejada has certainly energized this crowd.
When the Mets have had some of their better teams in the recent past, they've had the ability to have right-handed hitters off the bench. Fernando Tatis, Damian Easley come up with big hits. This is a big moment for Hairston.
Well, Scott has been swinging the bat a little better the last week or two. Of course, the opportunities have been few and far between. But after early in the season seeming to sell out for the home run ball every time up, he's been a little more measured in his approach.
Well, now you really have to guard the lines now. No doubles. And outfield playing very deep.
Ibanez almost back on the warning track and left.
And Polanco hugging that line.
So Tejada the go-ahead run at first with 2 out. And Hairston attacks the first pitch fastball, 0-1.
I'd like to see Ruben get a little bigger lead over first base. Get a little tiny lead. Come on, get up. Get out there.
Hairston's had just 2 at-bats against Bastardo, 0 for 2. And now he's behind 0-2. Well, this is where Tejada started in a 2-strike hole.
Well, you got Hairston right here, who's a fastball hitter. It's a good matchup against Bastardo, who likes to throw that cheddar.
Ruiz setting up away. And Hairston got a little better pitch than he should have there and fouled it off.
That was a good swing there.
See Ruiz gesturing after that last pitch.
Right down Broadway. Oh, my word.
Bastardo's already thrown 25 pitches now in this inning. And he gets Hairston swinging to end it. So despite the Tejada epic, the Mets failed to score in the 8th. On to the 9th we go, tied at 3.
said, what do you need to do better this year? He's only allowed 1 earned run in 17 innings. He's like, I've got to be more aggressive against the leadoff hitter. It's costing me, and it has. Leadoff guys, on base percentage, they're on base 45% of the time. This is a big at bat, guys.
Ibanez takes the first pitch for a strike. Well, Frankie has changed the program this year, throwing a lot more two-seam fastballs, and that has really helped.
With his 2 outs in yesterday's ball game, has stretched his scoreless streak to 19 2/3.
Ibanez hits one off the end of the bat, and out to Pagan. 1 out.
And I'm sorry, Gary. I just want to explain to a lot of fans out there, a two-seam fastball is Frankie is throwing more of a sinker now, where Frankie had more of a over-the-top straight fastball. Now he's throwing a two-seamer, and it sinks against left-handers, and what a weapon running.
Well, I think the reason he went to it is that it allows him to throw it kind of more in the strike zone, and it will break out of the strike zone, or at least to the corners and low.
And how about this? Frankie has never allowed a run against the Phillies.
Wow.
With that out he just recorded, 18 2/3 career innings against the Phillies. No runs. Ryan Madson, the right-hander. J.C. Romero, the left-hander, up in the Phillies bullpen.
It's Ronnie's favorite.
Which one?
The one on the right.
Here's Ruiz, 0 for 2 and a walk. And K-Rod throws his first pitch strike. Ruiz robbed of a hit on a fine play by Tejada his last time up. He's had a couple of those tonight. John Mayberry on deck. And the curveball back up the middle, a base hit for Ruiz. So the Phillies have their 7th hit, a 1-out single. And now Mayberry is being called back. And it looks like Ross Gload is going to come up to pinch hit.
Sometimes I wonder, with a pitcher like Frankie, Ron, is it better to have a right-hander up against him as opposed to a left-hander, because he's got that devastating changeup?
It takes that changeup away. Takes one of his best pitches away. But you know, Gload for the last couple of seasons has been so outstanding in this role for the Phillies.
And Charlie's got the numbers. Gload is 3 for 8 in his career against K-Rod.
And Gload, a Southampton young man out there, I believe Southampton or Bridgehampton or East Hampton. Forgive me out there. I live out there. I should know that.
I think he's from East Hampton, and he grew up a huge Keith Hernandez fan. First baseman in his youth.
Very bright young man.
1 out and 1 on, and Gload takes a strike. Well, the numbers on K-Rod so far this year, the lefties are hitting 250, the righties only 189. You see he's gotten tougher and tougher as the situation has called for it. 1-1 to Gload.
Well, he's had to. I mean, that's how he's gotten his saves on this scoreless streak. He has been so tough with people on.
Look at Turner over here. So this is a managerial philosophy. He double puts the Phillies ahead. I believe you guard the line. Turner's not.
Well, just gets a piece, and it's 1-2.
I don't care what all the charts say about Ross Gload. He doesn't hit the ball down the third base line. You cannot allow this is such a big game against the division. Even doesn't matter if you're playing the Pirates or the Phillies. I just feel you got to be closer to the line.
Now K-Rod ahead 1-2. And just missed. 2-2. There's that line for Gload against Frankie.
Oh boy, boy, boy! He could have raised that right arm.
I think Diaz saw it as outside. 2-2. An emergency hack, and he fouls it off. Dominic Brown hitting 9th in the order. Singled and scored the tying run in the 8th, and ready to hit behind Gload. And Jimmy Rollins waiting in the hole. Two-two, and Gload fouls it off.
That's very defensive right now. I mean, as a left-hand hitter attacking Frankie, he would be a tough mark. He's got so many weapons, and he just throws through a brick wall. Got a great breaking ball, great changeup, and he throws hard.
Again, the 2-2. Hit toward the hole. A base hit for Glode. Ruiz goes to second. He'll stop there. So Glode wins that battle. And now the go-ahead run is in scoring position for Dominic Brown coming up.
Well, this is the problem you have, is that when you're throwing fastballs by a hitter, it almost takes away that changeup in that position if you throw for a strike because of that hole between first and second.
Nice play by Carlos Beltran. Coming in charging hard, preventing Ruiz, who's not the most fleet of foot, but quick enough to get first to third. Carlos came in hard charging.
Now we're going to get a runner for Glode. That'll be Michael Martinez, the Rule 5 guy who has played a variety of positions for the Phillies this year. So now Dominic Brown, a base hit in his only at bat today. 2 aboard and 1 out. And Brown grounds the first one down to Murphy. It's under his glove and into right field. And Ruiz comes in to score the go-ahead run. The ball came off the lip of the infield grass, flattened out, and went right under Murphy. It scored a base hit, and the Phillies lead 4-3.
See, Murphy's too close. He's got to be played back. Runners on first and second. Play deeper. He's in nowhere's land. There's no reason for him to be. He's got to be 10 feet back. Play back. And then that hop becomes an easy hop. He got caught on the lip. You're right, Garrett. Great call on your part. But if he's playing back deeper, then he has an extra split second or two to adjust to the scoot
and to get an out.
So the Phillies regained the lead. They were up 2-0 in this game. Mets tied it, went ahead 3-2, but the Phillies with a run in the 8th and a run in the 9th to lead 4-3. Now Rollins has driven in 2 of the Philadelphia runs. And he takes ball 1.
And that's a huge run on third base for the Phillies. And they ruled that a hit, Gary?
They did.
Oh, boy. Generous.
Rollins singled in a run in the 3rd, doubled in a run in the 8th.
Well, the Mets practice that play all the time, and Murphy likes to play that ball one-handed, likes to make the turn and try to turn to double play. Sometimes you have to be more prudent in those situations. 1 out doesn't kill you.
Well, the problem is that if you make that play, the ball has to come up for you. If it stays down, you're dead. And the ball stayed down, and he was dead.
Well, it's always better to have a left-handed first baseman because then you can have that natural throw to second base.
Aaron behind 2-0. And Rollins lofts one out to right. Not very deep, but Martinez has lots of speed at third. Beltran's got a good arm. Here comes Martinez. Here comes Beltran's throw. And Martinez is safe.
Wow.
Sacrifice fly for Rollins and a 2-run Philadelphia lead. Not the best throw by Beltran as it skipped in. And Martinez able to beat the tag by Polino.
Well, you know what? You take a chance here. Carlos catches the ball on the left shoulder, has to bring it over to his right.
Boy, Paulino almost got that foot in, but he just threw that left leg on top of the plate.
Almost shades of Buster Posey right here.
3 hops as that ball came into the plate.
So it's not a strong throw from Carlos, and I'm sure he's not happy with that. Carlos with a tremendous arm.
So 2 runs are in for the Phillies now here in the 9th, and they lead 5-3. Utley the batter with Brown at first and 2 out. In the bottom of the 9th, the Mets will have the top of the order. Reyes, Turner, and Beltran coming up against presumably the Phillies closer Ryan Madson. Well, a back and forth ball game, but it's the Phillies with a run in the 8th and 2 in the 9th, who so far have had the last say. And Utley takes a strike. Utley tonight 0 for 3. Was hit by a pitch back in the 3rd. Just his 4th start coming off the disabled list.
Frankie Rodriguez, who's been just superb, has finally shown he's human.
Hit into right field, a base hit for Utley. Brown going first to third. The 4th hit of the inning. Utley's first hit of the night. And the Phillies now with runners at the corners.
Hey, first games in a series are so important. And for the Phillies to come in here, and if they wind up victorious, and we've got a whole half inning, this is a big win.
Tim Burdock gets up again. Well, Frankie Rodriguez had gone 19 2/3 consecutive scoreless innings, had not allowed a run since the 17th of April. He had never allowed a run against the Phillies in 18 1/3 innings in his career before tonight, but that has all changed. Now Polanco bounces one over the mound right near the bag. Tejada, his scoop, not in time, and a run comes home.
Now, folks, in defense of Tejada, his only play is to second base. He would not have had Polanco at first. And that's just good hustle by Utley.
He's in there safely and scored an infield hit for Polanco. Brings in the third run of the inning, and it's 6-3 Philadelphia.
That is a Baltimore chop.
And that's going to be all for K-Rod. Terry Collins will save him for another day. Frankie, who had not allowed a run in 6 weeks, has given up 3 in the 9th. And he will exit, and Tim Burdock will come in to face Ryan Howard. The call to the bullpen brought to you by Lincoln. Phillies have scored 3 in the 9th. We'll be right back. Game. Chris Carlin and Bobby Ojeda will have all the highlights, all the interviews, all the analysis. Terry Collins post-game press conference. Lincoln post-game live right after the game on SNY. Tim Burdock will try and get the final out here in the top of the 9th.
Well, strange outing in Chicago for Burdock. Gave up a run on a couple of hits, but had 4 punch-outs.
Comes in to face Ryan Howard. Burdock's had a lot of success against Howard, who is 2 for 13 against him. Howard, the 8th man up in the inning. The Phillies have scored 3 times to go up 6-3. He's 0 for 3 and a walk tonight. And he takes the first pitch slider for a strike. Ryan Madsen getting ready for the save opportunity against the top of the Mets order in the bottom of the 9th.
And I must say, I heard a few boos when Frankie left the game. And you cannot. How can you boo Frankie Rodriguez, who has just been outstanding all year? I mean, you just had Gary mentioned the consecutive streak of no runs. He has been spot on, and he just one of the nights the Phillies got him.
One for Burdock in tight. Dane Sardina has come out on deck to bat for the pitcher if Howard keeps the inning going. takes that slider off the plate. 3-1. There's Sardina, serving as the backup catcher these days for the Phillies, with Brian Schneider on the disabled list. (3-1) to Howard, and another slider. 3-2. So now the runners will be in motion. Utley at second, Polanco at first will be off with 3-2 and 2 out.
Big shift. Well, not so big, but just playing way deep in the outfield.
And Howard takes a call, third strike. Burnett down looking at a slider, and the inning is over. But the Phillies post 3 runs in the ninth. Menzel on the top of the order against Madsen, trying to respond in the bottom. Martinez, who pinch ran, stays in the game in center field, and Ryan Madsen will try and finish it off for the Phils.
Who just recently had one of his streaks broken at 13 innings, 9 for 9 in save opportunities. And this is after his manager at one point, Keith, said, what? I don't know if Ryan Madsen is ready to take on the closer role. We've tried it before. It did not work.
This time he seems to have taken to it just fine.
Hey, nothing like a little prodding.
Jose Reyes 1 for 4 tonight. He's doubled. He's scored 2 runs. Trying to get it started in the last of the ninth. And he takes the first pitch and at the knees for a strike. 0-1. As Antonio Bastardo pitched a hitless 8th inning. He's now pitcher of record on the long side for the Phillies. Francisco Rodriguez giving up 3 in the ninth. He would be the loser unless the Mets can rally. Off the end of the bat, and it's 0-2 to Reyes with Turner and Beltran to follow.
Here come the cavalry.
No, it had been 6 weeks since K-Rod had given up a run, and today he yielded 3. Off the plate to Reyes, and it's 1-2. But the subtleties of the game will get you, won't they?
Yeah.
You got a couple of runners on and 1 out. Ground ball down to first, and Murphy playing the ball off to the side, trying to make a spin move. The ball flattens out, goes under his glove, and the Phillies thus grab the lead. And all it goes into the books as is a base hit.
Well, you know, you're not going to turn 2 in that situation anyway, so you want to be very prudent. Make sure you get in front of that baseball and get yourself an out at second base.
Well, let's not forget the Mets got burned by not guarding the line.
Slow ground ball. No chance for Polanco. And Reyes has a base hit. Another multiple hit game for Reyes, his 4th in a row and his 24th of the year, and that gets the Mets started in the 9th.
Well, tough chance, and you know, foremost in Polanco's mind is it's Jose running, and I have no time. I've got to get it there quickly.
So the Mets need one more base runner to get the tying run to the plate here in the 9th. And Justin Turner, who has his first career 4-hit game tonight, looking to make it 5. 3 singles and a double. He's driven in a run. And taking all the way, a fastball for a strike. Seems he gets 2 hits every day, doesn't it? That's almost half the games the Mets have played. And with that, his 2 hits in this game, he now has 70 for the year, which ties the Mets club record for most hits in the first 50 games of the season. Tied with Lance Johnson, who did it back in '96. Now Madsen with a 2-strike advantage on Turner. Hit hard and right at the third baseman Polanco. Well, Turner making a bid for a 5th hit. Just hit it in the wrong spot. So 1 away. And now Beltran. 1 for 4. Singled in a run in the 5th. Hit a rope his last time up, lining out to right field. I don't think any of us will ever forget the home run Beltran hit against Madsen. Was that back in 06?
06. 17-inning game.
Oh, that's right.
Madsen pitched 7 innings in just spectacular baseball.
The one I remember is the home run that Beltran hit in Florida, Gary. It was the game winner. Remember, was it the Grand Slam? Late in the game, extra innings, or bottom of the 9th? You don't remember?
In Florida would be the top of the 9th.
Yes.
Yeah.
You don't remember? I'm shocked. I'm disappointed.
Who's the pitcher?
I forget.
There goes Reyes, and they'll ignore him. So Reyes moves up on defensive indifference. More importantly, though, it's 2-1 to Beltran. By the way, Beltran has 4 home runs against Madsen. 8 for 20 with 4 home runs. But this is a spot where Madsen has got to challenge him because a home run doesn't beat him. Jason Bay on deck. It's been a very frustrating game and season for Bay so far, but he'd love to get a crack at Madsen here with 2 men on. And now it's 3-1.
Well, Madsen's angry with himself, but he's put himself in a spot now, Ronnie. Well, hey, you can't mess around. Here's a fastball, hit it. I got 8 gloves out there. He gets a 2-run home run. He can't beat me.
Especially in this ballpark.
On 3-1, Beltran rips one into center field for a base hit. Reyes to third will be held there, even though Martinez bobbles it. Now he overruns it, and so now Reyes can score, and Beltran goes to second. So Beltran with a base hit. Reyes scores on the error. Beltran goes to second, but most importantly, it gets the tying run to the plate for the Mets in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, it took a funny hop on Martinez, and he's got to be a little more safety first here. The heck with Reyes. He's held up and walks home, but now he allows Beltran, who alertly sees that he botched it a second time, to advance to second base. Now double play is out of order.
And that's really the only difference it makes.
Well, that's what happens when you have an infielder playing the outfield. The Rule 5 guy is that what he wanted to do there is just play it on the big hop, toss it into second base. Reyes meant nothing.
Rich Doobie out to talk to Madsen. He's given up a couple of hits in the line drive out here in the 9th. So Bay gets to the plate as the tying run in a 6-4 game. And a chance for some redemption. Jason's 0 for 3 tonight. 2 ground balls, a strikeout. He walked on 4 pitches his last time up against Michael Stutz. Dale Thayer, who just joined the Mets today, coming up from Buffalo, is up in the bullpen, hoping there's a 10th inning to pitch it. Bay is 2 for 6 with a home run against Ryan Madson. And Jason ignores outside. 1-0. It's been some ball game.
Back and forth.
Once we're down 2-0, up 3-2. Now down 6-4. Hit hard. Base hit. Beltran to third. He'll stop there. So Jason Bay with his first hit of the night. And now the Mets have the tying runs on base with 1 out and Murphy coming up.
Well, got a fastball right here. 1-0 count. Belt high, middle in. That's where he likes it.
Well, the Mets closer, Frankie Rodriguez, gave up 3 runs and 5 hits in the top of the inning. Now the Phillies closer, Ryan Madson, has given up a run on 3 hits in the bottom of the ninth. Murphy at the plate with the tying runs on base. And he takes a strike. Murphy 1 for 4 tonight, singled back in the 4th. Beltran at third, Bay the tying run at first. In the dirt, and Marie stops it 1-1. Madson does not appear to have as much confidence in his changeup as he normally does.
I just see a different pitcher when he pitches against the Mets than when I watch him pitch against other teams.
1-1 to Murphy. Past the mound, Utley at the bag, flips to Rollins on to first, and the ball game is over. 4-6-3 double play ends it. The Mets get 1 in the ninth, but fall short as the Phillies rally with 3 against Frankie Rodriguez in the 9th inning and beat the Mets in the series opener 6-4.
Well, if you consider yourself a championship type club, during the season you're going to have to beat the bullpen, and they did it tonight, getting a run off Isringhausen in the 8th, getting those 3 that Gary talked about in the 9th off K-Rod, and some sloppy play by the Mets defensively allowed a couple of runs to score in this ball game tonight.
Well, a very big win for the Phillies, obviously, here to come in to Citi Field and to kind of come from behind like that and beat the Mets here. That puts the Mets 8.5 games back now in the standings, and that's a huge win. That young man right there had a big day. 4 hits for Mr. Turner. Just a tough loss. Frankie Rodriguez has been outstanding. They got to him today, and he's only human.
Well, Chris Capuano and Roy Oswalt matched up for the first 6 innings. Each allowed a couple of runs. But the Phillies out bullpen the Mets. A run in the 8th off Isringhausen, 3 in the 9th off K-Rod, as the Phillies come from behind to beat the Mets 6-4 despite 14 Met hits, as you check out the Audi game summary. Philadelphia wins at 6-4. Back with more from Citi Field in just a moment.